Hello everyone, and I'm Autobot Sonic the Telltale Gamer, bringing latest and everything Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So we are back again with another Transformers Cyberverse review. This time we are continuing the story of Bumblebee's search for rescuing Windblade as we started back in episode 19, Thunderhowl. So after we had a little detour with episode 20, Wild Wild Wheel, we're back into it with Bumblebee searching for Windblade again, with episode 21, Alien Hunts with Meteorfire and Cosmos. Now, honestly, I gotta say, with this episode, I really enjoyed this episode, though I will say there were a few problems with it that I had toward the end, but aside from the ending of this episode was honestly, just from start to finish, really fun to watch, and introduces us to a brand new character who I was really happy to see this episode. But unfortunately, this is their only real episode that they show up in, so it is disappointing that they won't be playing a major role going forward for the rest of the season in Season 4. But anyway, it's cool that we got this whole episode dedicated to them. So we're going to go ahead and see everything this episode did right and what it did wrong. Episode 21 starts with Bumblebee inside the little infirmary area with Windblade and Chromia as he's scanning using the cam and the scammer that Chromia used back in Thunderhowl to try and locate the next piece of Windblade. So he ends up finding it, which I'm not sure if it's like just Windblade's wings or like her whole torso, because it kind of looks unclear. I'm going to assume it's probably like her, considering the last time we saw in Thunderhowl, it was her arm and sword. I'm going to assume this is like her whole torso. So Windblade's torso memory fragment is somewhere on Luna 3, which is apparently a forbidden moon for Cybertron that Bumblebee has no way of getting to. However, Chromia says that she knows someone who can help Bumblebee get into it if he goes out to go reach out to him, and this is none other than Meteorfire. Now, Meteorfire, I am really a fan of Meteorfire's character and personality. I love his design too, and everything, and he's great. And again, Meteorfire, like Thunderhowl and Wild Wheel, are all voiced by Rich Orlaw, and I gotta say, this man has crazy range, even more so than Jeremy Levy. Like, literally, this man goes from doing like a chivalrous knight with Thunderhowl to the Wild West Outlaw Wild Wheel. Now we've got this Steve Irwin parody with Meteorfire. I absolutely love this. I gotta say, honestly, his interpretation of Meteorfire is probably my favorite Rich Orlaw performance so far in Cyberverse. I absolutely love him. But anyway, through some clips that we saw in the beginning of this episode, essentially Meteorfire ran this like Cybertronian TV show with his friend Cosmos, called, of course, the Alien Hunt with Meteorfire and Cosmos, and basically, so they went around the universe just hunting down aliens and like documenting them, kind of just like, again, like a parody of Steve Irwin, and it's just really funny to see how like how over dramatic Meteorfire is, which honestly is very entertaining to watch. So eventually, though, when Bumblebee ends up making it to Meteorfire's shuttle, though, everything's really run down, and Meteorfire has seen better days. We see that he's got several cool trophies from across every episode of Cyberverse we've seen so far. We've seen like stuff like he's got pictures of humans from season 1 of Cyberverse. He's got a picture of the banana that Teletran X had back in season 2. He's got a miniature version of a dead Quintessence drone from earlier this season. What's really interesting, though, is he actually has Starscream's judge body in here as well, but it's miniaturized, so it's weird. So I don't know if maybe this is like a model replica of Judge Starscream, or after Starscream was killed by Optimus and Megatron at the end of the Universe arc, Meteorfire just got some sort of shrink ray and just shrunk down his body so that he could just take it home with him. I don't know, but it's cool to think that maybe that's like that sort of Meteorfire's just been collecting all this stuff in between stuff. But anyway, you can see his whole little space shuttle is all run down, and his whole body's just like covered in rust, like he's been going through a depressive episode. And Bumblebee, of course, is like totally fanboying out over meeting Meteorfire, who just doesn't seem to be acknowledging him at all. And so until Bumblebee tells Meteorfire that he needs his help to get into Luna 3, and the Meteorfire is hesitant at first because he hasn't really done anything with Alien Hunt since, as we see from a little like TV episode that he's watching, apparently Cosmos ended up dying or getting eaten by some unknown alien in an earlier episode. So after that, Meteorfire just kind of fell into a depressive episode and his show was canceled. So eventually, he seems hesitant to help Bumblebee at first, but then Bumblebee states that he's going there because he needs to find Windblade, so Meteorfire agrees to help him, and they decide to go out there. So while Meteorfire and Bumblebee are heading out to Luna 3 to go ahead and try to find the Windblade shard, Meteorfire just sees this as just another way to get back into restarting his alien hunt show. So he doesn't treat it so seriously. Like he brings around like a couple of like filming drones with him just to film him and Bumblebee breaking into Luna 3, and Bumblebee is getting progressively more and more annoyed with Meteorfire for trying to use this as a way to revive his show instead of just helping him find Windblade. So this eventually leads to Meteorfire leading Bumblebee towards some sort of communications tower, which when Bumblebee wants to go towards some crater instead, that scanner is telling him that Windblade's memory fragment is near, but when Meteorfire ignores him and leads Bumblebee instead into this like command center or communications tower. It's at this point where they find a recording left by another Autobot who seems to have been killed, like his whole crew was wiped out by some sort of alien impacting on the moon's surface, and that's why he needs to be quarantined. Before that Autobot is suddenly presumably killed by someone off screen, though we don't know what. And Bumblebee and Meteorfire are confused as to what's happening until Bumblebee for some reason ends up seeing like a ghostly apparition of Shockwave jump out of the computer screen and try to attack Bee. So again, as we know, Shockwave died back in Battle for Cybertron Part 4 when he killed himself to rip his spark out and try to corrupt the Allspark on the orders of Megatron. But of course that didn't work. So Bumblebee is like terrified, runs out of the communications tower away from the ghost of Shockwave. And as he's trying to calm down, he's suddenly met by the ghost of Blur, who I was totally not expecting to see Blur again. The last time we saw him was in his first episode ever, which was episode 8 of season 1, Terminal Velocity, where we saw him, Hot Rod, and Bee try to escape Velocitron from the Plague of Rust, but Blur ended up getting infected by it and sacrificed himself to save Hot Rod and Bumblebee. So he sees the ghost of Blur just running around him, wanting to race with him, and as the ghost of Blur runs off, Bee suddenly starts getting attacked by these like ghosts of various seekers. Now it's unclear if it's Slipstream, Thundercracker, Nova Storm, or whoever. I'm just gonna assume it's probably like Thundercracker, Nova Storm, and all the Acid Storm and all those other seekers that Starscream killed back at the start of Eye and the Allspark. So they like start flying in, trying to shoot at Bumblebee, so he takes cover behind a rock and starts wildly shooting at them, managing to blow one of them up. However, all of a sudden, the Ghost Seekers end up turning into Meteorfire and his video drones, which finally gets Bumblebee to stop shooting, and we learn now that apparently whatever alien is on Luna 3, it's infected Bumblebee to the point where it's making him see hallucinations of all these dead people that he's met over the course of the series so far. I think that's a really cool concept to like as a way to bring back characters that have died earlier on this season. I really wish we would have gotten to see like other characters. Like I thought it would have been so cool if we maybe got like a guest appearance by Cheetor or Starscream. Definitely Cheetor, just because I miss him so much. He's probably like one of my favorite characters in Cyberverse, honestly, Cheetor, and I'm still not over him dying back at the beginning of this season. But anyway, Bumblebee seems to be over it, though Meteorfire still wants to try and look for this alien, but Bumblebee's just had enough with it at this point, because he says that he doesn't care about the show, he wants to find Windblade because she means a lot to him, and honestly, I really do appreciate like how much Bumblebee cares for Windblade, considering he didn't really show any remorse towards when Hot Rod, presumably, after Hot Rod came back towards the end of the Quintessent arc. So to see him care so much with Windblade, who they had a really close relationship with back in Season 1 and the earlier parts of Season 2, I'm glad that Bee is still shown to be worried about Windblade. So after that, Cosmos decides just not to care about the show anymore and agrees to just help Bumblebee find Windblade and not focus on the show. So eventually they come into contact with the alien that's been giving Bee all these hallucinations, and it essentially... Oh, I forgot to mention another thing, that before this even happens, before they even find the alien, the alien does end up taking control of Meteorfire somehow, and Meteorfire is forced to fight Bumblebee, but also tries to like help him out by telling him how he's going to attack and all that. And it's really cool to see all the different like weapons that Meteorfire has. Especially, I'm really fond of these little like kind of like Assassin's Creed hidden blade style things that he's got in his wrist, and so he spins around to make it look like a spinning top. I really do like that. But eventually, Bee's able to stop Meteorfire by hitting him with his stinger and like shorting him out for a bit, and that causes the alien to stop possessing Meteorfire. So after that, the two of them head over to go and find Windblade's fragment. So they find it's actually lodged inside the alien, which is this weird like ball, this weird black ball made of several constellations. Reminds me a lot of the one zebra-striped angel from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Also kind of reminds me oddly of something from Treasure Planet, if that makes sense. But anyway, while they're doing this, Meteorfire opts to go ahead and head towards the alien because he knows that this type of alien apparently feeds off fear. Though immediately when he does it, he starts panicking and the alien like takes over Meteorfire again. Looks like it's going to consume him until again Bumblebee decides to use the multiversal energy to just smash it instantly. And this is the problem I'm starting to have with the multiversal energy, that we saw this back in Thunder Howl, that nothing seems to be better than Bumblebee's multiversal energy. The Crystal King was able to be beaten by it. This alien was able to be beaten by it. The only thing that like gave Bee a run for his money with the multiversal energy was the Insecticons back in enemy line. And to think some Insecticons are stronger than this alien entity and the Crystal King is a little bit odd in my opinion, and a little bit underwhelming. But anyway, Bumblebee manages to destroy the alien and free Meteorfire and get the Windblade's torso memory fragment for himself. So now they have 40% of Windblade. But as they do that, Cosmos emerges from the debris of the alien, and turns out that she was caught by the alien on the last episode we saw Meteorfire watching before Bumblebee entered his shuttle. So after that, she's been trapped in there for years with the alien going to Cybertron to try and feed off the Allspark there. But thankfully, Bumblebee was able to destroy it before it could do that. So after that, Meteorfire and Cosmos decide to go back to starting up the alien hunt again. And that's pretty much where the episode ends. And so that was my review of Transformers Cyberverse Season 3, Episode 21, Alien Hunt with Meteorfire and Cosmos. If I had to rate this episode, I'd probably give it, again, a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. I really, really loved Rich Orlaw as Meteorfire's episode. He was such a great character, and it really, really sucks knowing that this is really his only episode. I think he makes a few cameo appearances later on towards the end of the season, but aside from that, this is his only real episode, and it is a bit disappointing that we won't get to see more of him, because I honestly love his character. Between him, Wild Wheel, and Thunder Howl, he's easily my favorite of all of them. And I did like his interactions with Bumblebee throughout this episode. The nice little callbacks to seeing the ghosts of Shockwave and Blur was great. Though the fact that, again, Bumblebee ended up just using the multiversal energy to easily destroy the alien entity thing, I just didn't like that. I want there to be some sort of challenge with taking down these pieces. Then Bumblebee just backing himself into a corner, then, oh, Autobots unite, and then just punches it, and then that's over, I'm done with. So I kind of want to see more stakes, in my opinion. But that's going to be it for this review. I'll be back soon with episode 22, Journey to the Valley of Repugnance. If you like this review, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Take it away, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee out.
And I might know what our future, but then you still control the past. Only you know if we'll be together. Only you know if we shall.